Check. All right. Music function tagginchana. All right. So before we break for the lunch, we have one topic, the last topic of today, which is about online frauds. So online frauds గురించి చాలా మందికి తెలిసిందే. ఇది ఒక కొత్త రకం ఫ్రాడ్స్ కూడా జరుగుతున్నాయి. మామూలుగా అప్పిచ్చి ఎగ్గొట్టే వాళ్ళని చూస్తుంటాము, కానీ మేమే అప్పిస్తామని ఈ మధ్య డిఫరెంట్గా చేస్తున్నారు. సో చాలా ఆన్లైన్ యాప్స్ ఉన్నాయి లోన్ ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడానికి. ఆ యాప్స్ కనుక ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసినట్లయితే వాళ్ళు లోన్ ఇస్తారో లేదో తెలియదు, కానీ ఉల్టా మన డబ్బులు మొత్తం నొక్కేస్తుంటారు. ఒకవేళ లోన్ ఇచ్చి మనం ఎవరైనా లోన్ కట్టకుండా ఉంటే మన చుట్టుపక్కల మన ఫ్యామిలీ కానీ మన ఫ్రెండ్స్కి కానీ క్రాస్ కాల్స్ చేసి వాళ్ళని అబ్యూజివ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్లో తిడుతుంటారు. బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫర్ దట్ నేనే. మా ఫ్రెండ్ ఎవరో లోన్ తీసుకున్నారని నాకు ఫోన్ చేసి తిట్టారు. సో ఇలాంటివి ఏంటా అని అనుకున్నాను. ఇప్పుడే తెలిసింది నాకు అది ఆన్లైన్ ఫ్రాడ్ అని చెప్పి. సో ఎలాంటి యాప్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఈ యాప్స్ని డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోకుండా ఎలాంటి సెక్యూరిటీ మనం ప్రొవైడ్ చేయాలి అనే దాని మీద అవగాహన కలిగించడానికి పలు ప్రముఖులు ఉన్నారు. సో లెట్ మీ ఫస్ట్ ఇన్వైట్ అవర్ కీనోట్ స్పీకర్. Ladies and gentlemen, for the topic online loan frauds, our first keynote speaker is Sri Sunil Nayak, IPS. Sunil Garu, hearty welcome to you, sir. He belongs to the 2005 IPS batch, Bihar cadre, previously worked as DIG and also Anti-Terrorist Squad, Bihar, presently working as DIG CID AP. For online loan frauds, the expert speaker, one of the expert speakers for the topic is Sri A.Y.V. Krishna Garu. A huge round of applause for our expert speaker. He belongs to the 1995 batch IPS officer, presently working as the Joint Director and Head of Zone CBI Hyderabad. He was awarded as the Director's Commendation Disc for his outstanding contribution to the National Police Academy. And our next expert speaker is also with us. Please join your hands together for Srimati Padma Padmanabhan Ji Garu. All right, Krishna Garu virtual ga join outunarandi manato paatu. Hello madam, hearty welcome. We are very privileged to have you here. She has joined RBI in the year 1988. Since then, she worked in various platforms like banking, presently working as Assistant General Manager in the Department of Supervision. And the moderator for this interesting session on online loan fraud is Sri Kishore Garu IPS. He is with us. He just presented bouquets for all the dignitaries on the stage. Before I call him up, it's my duty to tell who he is. He belongs to the 2019 batch IPS. He was graduated from IIT Kharagpur. That's amazing, sir. At present, he is attached to Kurnool district as ASP. Kishore, sir, I hand over the session to you. All the very best.
So much respected dignitaries on the stage, in the venue, the media and the industry delegates and all the online audience that joined us. A very good afternoon, and thank you all for patiently listening to all the sessions. I know it's lunchtime, we're all hungry, but whenever we are hungry, we tend to forget the great truth, that is, there is no free lunch. So whenever you see a promise of quick money, easy money, without any documentation or procedure, be aware, it's not free lunch, it's not free money, it's a scam. There is a growing trend of these unauthorized digital lending platforms, apps, which will eventually start charging exorbitant and illegal interest rates, and later, to recover the money from you, commit harassment, blackmail, and even commit to misuse your private personal data that you permitted them to access when you install those quick apps. Not only the ramifications are on particular individuals, the ramifications are much more deeper, impacting the national security, tracing back to China. All these online quick loan apps trace back to China, and also a money laundering angle is also involved. So today we have the eminent speakers to share their wisdom on the topic with a to give us diverse perspectives, both from the investigation angle and also from the user perspective and also the banking stakeholder perspective. Now I invite Sri Sunil Kumar Naik sir, DIG CID, to give his opening remarks on this topic. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. As a keynote speaker, my job is quite clear-cut. I have to decide the broad contours of this talk. So let me start with a story because it's quite boring. So let me start with a small story. This is the story of a software engineer called Vinay from Hyderabad. So he was working with a software firm. After the COVID, his software firm got closed. He lost his job. He wanted money. So he started now looking for different sources of money. But we know it's very difficult to get a bank loan. And during the COVID crisis, there was no way one could get a bank loan, especially if you didn't have a job. So then he got to know about these online apps where they were giving bank loans, small amount of loans with high interest rate, but without much verification. So he took loan from one of the apps. He submitted his Aadhaar card, his other KYC details. After some time, he started getting harassed because he still didn't have a job. So he went to another app, applied for loan there. So now he got caught in a whirlpool of these apps, and they started harassing him so much. Now whenever you install this app, he realized that they wanted access to his photographs, to his contacts. So during this harassment, people would call from various call centers. They would just not call him, they would abuse him. Then they would even call people who are on his contact list. They would abuse them. They would even threaten the ladies on the contact list with some sort of sexual violence. They would take photographs of some personal photographs, stamp him as a defaulter, watermark as defaulter, and they started sending these images on the WhatsApp of all their friends. Unable to bear this, he committed suicide. So this is not just one case. There are several such cases, especially in the last 2-3 months. There have been many suicides, unable to take this pressure of all these online apps. So just to understand how it happens, so why this happens? Actually, the problem is that during the COVID times, a lot of people, especially those who had small businesses or were working in private firms, they didn't have money because they didn't have jobs. So because they didn't have jobs, they didn't have money, they needed access to credit. But we know it's very difficult to get bank credit. You have all the CIBIL score, they say you already taken a loan, that's why you can't get this. So once they realize that you can't get a normal loan, they go for other ways. So we also have these money lenders who lend you for 3%, 4%, etc. These online apps were easy. They said no verification, we don't want to know you, you just have to give your KYC details and then we will get you instant loan. And it actually happens, but at the very place, suppose you take a loan of 30,000, the deductions are almost like 5,000, so you just get a loan of 25,000 and then they make you pay more than 30,000. But it doesn't stop there, like one of the doubts was asked, it doesn't stop there. They make you pay more than that, and if you say, no, I've already completed, I've already paid whatever is due from my side, they start harassing. They say, no, you have to pay this much more, and then they start making calls to all the contacts, they start taking your photographs. But the biggest problem here is just not the harassment, but the biggest problem here is the access to the data. Like in the previous sessions, whenever you download an app, the first question that the app asks is, do you want to give access to your photographs? Do you want to give access to your contacts, etc. So we normally say yes, yes, yes. So for these apps, it is almost compulsory that you have to give them access to your media and you have to give access to their contacts. So they misuse that, and your all private data is in their hands. So recent investigations have shown that there are a lot of Chinese companies which are behind this. So it's like we are giving our personal data to somebody sitting in China. And according to a payment gateway called Razorpay, the volume of this online loan fraud is close to 21,000 crores. Now just imagine 21,000 crores, if the loan amount is just say 30,000, 40,000, the amount of people who are being harassed because of this. So we have a big challenge that's facing us. So no, apart from this, there's one more thing, one very important thing that I would like to say, especially because we have somebody from RBI. And the problem is that of financial inclusion. Now, we have to understand why do people go to these institutions or these apps, though they know that they are putting their reputation at stake, they know that they could be at any sort of risk, their data is at risk. But why do they go to this? Because we as a system, or the financial system which is standardized, has not been able to fill that gap between big loans and the small loans. Now, I am also incidentally heading the economic offences wing. So when I investigate those cases, I see that there are people who come to the banks with fake document details, fake property details, get loans worth crores of rupees. Then the bank realizes that those properties actually don't exist on the ground. Then after 3 or 4 years, they come and register a case in the economic offences wing. So it's so easy for the people who are fraudsters to get a loan from the bank, but the genuine person who is ready to pay, he doesn't get loan from the banks. So there is a bigger question of financial inclusion that banks, especially RBI as a policy maker, should definitely look into. But apart from this, there is no doubt that we do need these stopgap arrangements. So we need to have a system in place where all such apps can be vetted, and we can recommend that these are vetted apps, these are people who are verified, and you can go for loans when these particular apps approach. So there is a need for such systems. So I'm sure we have JD sir from CBI, and we have Padmanabhan madam from RBI, and I'm sure they will deliberate on these issues. Thank you so much. Yeah, just 1 second before I close. We have a CID stall to my left, that is to your right. So we have put in a lot of pamphlets even for these online loan apps, as well as other things that you need to take care of, especially if you think you are getting exposed to cyber crime. There are booklets, free booklets, you can pick those booklets. Again, we have a portal, CID 4S for you. You can always register your complaint there, and we have a WhatsApp number. If you go there, you can pick the pamphlet there. It will give you all the details. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for throwing and opening up and sharing your wisdom on such recent trends on cybercrime. Now we invite Shri AYV Krishna, Joint Director, CBI. Sir is famous for investigating the Satyam scam, and he was awarded PPM Distinguished Service because he could close the entire case and charge sheeted it within 3 months. And sir is also investigating that IMA scam. So sir, we request you to throw your valuable experience and enlighten our crowd and the fellow police officers on the investigation of such complex crimes. Open to you, sir. Sorry, we just have a technical snag. I would request the next speaker, Srimati Padma Padmanabhan from RBI. Now from the DIG sir's talk, we understood that prevention is better than cure. Ma'am, you can throw us the light on the awareness that public should have and the banking the support that we can receive from your institutions.
Good afternoon, all of you. Please, 10 minutes. I won't bore you up. This side, left side, left side. I'm not going to bore you up. You can go out and talk during lunch, okay? I know you people are hungry, but some food for your thought. I think all of you are students, right? Come on. What are you? I can't hear you. You're all students, right? So you're all going to become, you're going to work and earn money, right? Okay, now let me start. What do you know about RBI? Or what is it? Let me ask you, because this side is very, intellectual side, this side. So I will not disturb this side. I am focusing on this side. Come on, tell me, what is RBI? Come on. You know it is Reserve Bank of India. What does it do? Have you seen anywhere the name Reserve Bank of India?
Regulating banks and finance.
Okay, have you seen the name Reserve Bank of India anywhere?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
On the currency note.
Yeah, all of us are there only for that currency, right?
Arthanarika Vidya, ma'am. We earn and we study.
Yeah, you're studying to get that note.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are, now I come to the topic. I am from Reserve Bank of India. We are the central bank of the country. Okay. We have main function is to supply currency and see the stability in the country. That is one function. The other function is supervisory and regulatory, because we are controlling the financial system of the country. So we have to take them at task, like our police friends issue law and order, right? If something is a problem, they come with a lathi stick. So we issue orders like a lathi stick to the companies and to the banks. We just keep on noting whether they are doing a good job, whether there is a problem. Then we go on surprise inspections, like these people do investigations. We do surprise checks and find out, and we give them punishment. The punishment will be different. Here it may be some order, penalty, or a jail term, something like that. That is law. We give in the nature of monetary penalty, or we issue them licenses. We take back the licenses. We say your license is cancelled and you cannot do any further financial business. And we also inform the police friends. We tell them that this particular entity is cancelled, and you see, have a watch on them. If they are doing any business, come back to us. We will do what we have to do. That is a small introduction on Reserve Bank of India. Right? Got it? Now, the hot topic of today of everybody is the online loan frauds. Tell me, is there anything free in the world? You were all small children at home. What do your parents used to tell you? You do this, you will get this, right? So to get something, you have to give up something. Nothing is free. Nobody gives us free. How can you get money free? You're all intellectual people. You should think about it. Even I am getting all messages every day. Your account is credited by 50,000, 85,000, click down. If I click, all my data is gone. So I am getting that money to give all my data. I don't want that. So I immediately cut. I block that app or block the message. So my sincere request is, don't go for any free thing. Nothing is free in the world. People may talk 100 things. As an experienced person, I am telling you, please don't go for anything free. Nothing is free. This is one part. Now what RBI has done? You will have that question in your mind now. What did you people do? You are giving big sermons over here. It's not that. The online loan fraud has come to light now in papers, but Reserve Bank has given the circular in the month of June 24, on June 24, 2020. We told, I think I need a slide, yeah. This next slide please, go ahead, come down. See, this is the guidelines what we have given. We have already told that either some people are going on digital platforms, and why? Because as sir was telling, there is a big gap between the big loan and the small loan. This is for actually the financial sector or the non-banking financial sector was developed for that to help the small loan people. But you see that they are going into the digital lending apps, doing some other business. When we are giving them certificates, we ask, they have to tell Reserve Bank that we are doing such 1, 2, 3, 4 activities. If anything is found other than what they have promised or what they have given us, they are being viewed very seriously. Okay? Now the next slide, please. See, these are the instructions issued by RBI. You can see the names of digital lending platforms engaged as agents shall be disclosed on the website of the banks or NBFCs. So in case you get an app, you're all learned person, go to the Play Store and see if it is registered. Then we take care. Then you see digital lending platforms engaged as agents shall be directed to disclose upfront to the customer. That is, they have to tell the customer, we are giving you loans and our parent or somebody who is behind us is this bank or this financial company. Then the third one, immediately after a sanction of a loan, before slide, execution. When they ask you to sign some documents, am I right, sir? Anybody got loan from anywhere? No. Here, this side? Okay. When you are getting any loan, you are asked to sign some documents. Please read the documents. Some things are written in very small letters, which we always avoid reading it. You please read it. If you feel it is going to be detrimental nature, please don't sign. You say you will complain somewhere. That is the end of it. The another thing, the copy of the agreement should be given to the customers. That is one of the criteria. And English, if it is in a small area, it should be in the vernacular language. You can always ask for it. You may need money, but that doesn't mean that we have to forego all these rules. You say, you tell me on what interest you are giving, how should I repay? Please give me in writing. And never disclose your contact details with anybody. We are getting now so many complaints that they are being harassed, the relatives are being harassed, the co-worker is being harassed, and so many suicides are happening nowadays. You won't believe, RBI has come with a circular or you can say a notification. The first slide. On December 23rd, 2020, where we had given this circular that if you have any complaints, you can log on to sachet.rbi.org.in and give your complaint. Please don't end your precious life. Life is very precious. If you have any problems, please write to the bank, write to RBI. We are all there. So don't do such hasty step. And there is another link, that is cms.rbi.org.in, where you can lodge your complaints. So I think I have spoken enough. Still you have any doubts, you can ask me. Anybody? Okay, I think in the end we'll have the question answer sessions. Please jot down. If time permits, I can answer you all. Otherwise, I'll give you an email ID where you can put in your questions and I'll get back to you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to request our AYV Krishna, IPS Joint Director, CBI sir, to take the stage and present his valuable insights on the topic. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I thank DGP Andhra Pradesh Shri Gautam Sawant and AP Police for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. Can you kindly allow a screen share for me, please? Since there is a mixed audience of police officers as well as students, I would like to divide this into the modus operandi that is being used by these online loan fraudsters and a few aspects of investigation for the police officers, and then how one can protect oneself from not getting into this trap. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're very clear, sir. Please carry on, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you allow the screen share so that I can share my PowerPoint presentation? The host is to allow the screen share.
Sir, your presentation is visible now, sir.
Okay. So the modus operandi part, the criminal initially creates and develops a website, and the mobile app is now given access to various users to download them on their cell phones. They advertise these links through various social media platforms or through emails. They also give ads on YouTube, Google Chrome, and through WhatsApp, Facebook, SMSs, or through spam emails. These loan apps offer loans without any security or surety. So that's the main attraction for the common man to immediately download it and try to use this facility. Next slide.
Yes,
Once the victim clicks the link on the app, previous one please, previous one. Once the victim clicks the link on the app, the previous slide please. Then automatically the app gets downloaded and installed on the mobile phone. Then it asks for the permission to access your contacts, messages, camera, your photo gallery, your location, etc. Once you say agree, then the app steals the contacts, the SMS data, the photos, your location, and these data can be used subsequently by the fraudster to blackmail you or threaten you. Sometimes the stolen data, if he feels is important, he can even sell it online on online markets in various parts of the world. Next slide please. Some of these apps even install various viruses or Trojan horses on your mobile phone, as a result of which your mobile phone will be remotely accessed by the fraudster, or he can view your screen or the contents live. In case you are doing an online transaction, the OTPs also will be visible to him, and he himself can transact or transfer amounts from your account into their accounts. The loans are given to victims and they charge abnormally high rates of interest. These schemes lack transparency in the interest calculation. Next slide please. Next slide. Once the victim pays back, they lure the victim to take more loans, and then you enter into a vicious cycle. If the loan amount is not repaid, since the contacts are already with you, with the fraudster, he will try to ring up the kith and kin of the borrower and harass the kith and kin, accusing them and stating that they are the guarantors for the loan taken by the borrower and will threaten them to take loans. In case you don't respond to these threatening calls and harassments, then the information of the pictures that are there already in his domain, he may use them to blackmail you, stating that they will be posted on various social media platforms by being morphed and post them along with certain obscene pictures and propagate them across the globe through internet. As a result, the borrower becomes very weak and he tries to submit himself to the fraudsters. Okay. Now coming to the legal and regulatory issues. Banks and NBFCs sometimes use digital online lending platforms in order to market their loan schemes. But they will have to display prominently in their websites, that is the banks and NBFCs, the non-banking financial institutions, should display prominently on their websites the details of these digital online lending platforms, so that the user is confident that these are official platforms being used by various banks and licensed NBFCs in order to lend loans to public. Even the digital lending platforms in their websites should display the name of the bank and NBFC whom they are representing on their websites. So whenever somebody wants to avail online loans, you will have to check the website of the digital platform whether they are accredited on behalf of a bank or an NBFC. Similarly, you can correspondingly go to that bank's or NBFC's website and check whether this particular digital platform is displayed on their website or not. Only if the banks and NBFCs are registered and licensed, only then one can rely upon them and they can indulge in lending loans to common man. And once the loan is sanctioned, the loan sanction letter should be given on the official letterhead of the bank or the NBFC which the digital platform is representing. So therefore, unauthorized and unapproved and unlicensed sanction letters by various digital platforms is not allowed. Then for effective monitoring of these platforms, these banks and NBFCs should monitor the activities of these frontline digital platforms whom they have engaged for soliciting people in order to give loans. And every bank and NBFC, even the digital platform, should also have a grievance redressal mechanism so that the victim can send an email and there is somebody to respond to the complaint and the grievance is taken care of. So these are some of the aspects for the common man. Now coming to the investigation aspect for the police officers who are the participants here, the different elements in an online app fraud are these four following. There is an application which is downloaded onto the mobile phone. Then there is a server which hosts this application, and the same server also stores this data that is stolen from the mobile phones. So as an investigator, you are interested in the app, you are interested in the server, then the company or the person who is investing money in the form of giving loans to various victims. So the person or the company that is behind this online loan fraud has to be identified. Then the call centers who are threatening the victims as well as their kith and kin should also be identified. So these are the four parameters which as an investigator you should first identify. Now how do you identify them? Next slide. Details of the developer can be known from the Play Store or the website where the app link is displayed. Or as an investigator you can formally write to Google Play Store and obtain the name, mobile number and the contacts of the person who hosted the application on the Play Store. Then you should analyze the app so that you get the IP address which will link the server where the app is hosted. Once the server is located, then you will have to identify the person who is hosting the app on that server. For example, the fraudster may not be owning the server. He might have leased the space on a server and he may be hosting his app on that server. Therefore, once you identify the server, then you should identify the person who hosted the app on that server. Next, you must identify the call center executives who are making calls to the various victims and their kith and kin. Now coming to what are the evidences that should be collected. The details of the app developer should be identified and the app itself should be subjected to a forensic analysis, whether it is just an interaction platform to link the lender to the borrower or there is any malicious code in that to steal the personal information of the victim from his or her mobile phone. Analysis with the help of an expert in order to identify the malicious source code if any. Then you will have to, then you have to cut the access permissions. It is to seek to prove the intentions. The previous slide please. Yeah. wait, the access permissions which the app is asking the victims. Is it asking for permission to access the contacts? Is it asking permission to access the photos? Is it asking for permission to access the files and other data stored on the mobile phone? So by nature of the permissions which the app is asking, you can also identify the intentions of the fraudster in order to steal the data. Then you should collect the bank account details of the victims from where the loan amounts are being paid. In the process, loan repayments are being made. In the process, you will identify the bank account details of the fraudster from where the loan amount is being disbursed and the repayments are being collected. Next slide, please. The investigating officer should also collect the details of the IP address of the server, and from the IP address analyze the IPDR, the directory, so that you will identify who are the other victims who have accessed this app in the recent past, so that you can know the quantum of victims that have undergone this harassment because of this app. Then you have to locate the server and seize the server by using the adequate proceedings as per CRPC. Then the entire server should be subjected to forensic analysis, because that will contain the entire logs of various victims who have accessed the app and who have lost their money or their self-respect and social esteem. Then this server will also contain the loans that have been given, the repayments that have been made, and even the data stolen from the victims' mobile phones will also be stored in this server. So this server will be a gold mine of information and evidence for the investigator. So locating and seizing the server and subjecting the hard disk of the server to forensic analysis is very, very important. Next. Yeah. And you should also collect the details of the transactions of the bank account of the lender, the one who has posted the application, so that you can analyze the bank statement. Then from the KYC, know your customer norms, which are available with the bank, you can identify the person who has opened the account, and you can identify the properties of the person and take necessary action to attach those properties, either under criminal amendment ordinance or under PMLA with the help of Enforcement Directorate. Then you can also collect the details of the company which is involved in the business from the registrar of companies wherever it is registered in India or abroad, and identify the names of the directors who are behind the company which has designed and posted the app. So these are some of the aspects of investigation in an online loan fraud. Now coming to general public and the students who are here, how to protect yourself by not falling prey to these online loan frauds. Never download an app without verifying the authorization given by RBI or the district collector or the state government. The state governments also allow certain agencies to lend loans based on the local laws. The state governments have laws for lending. So if that law is legally authorizing the lending act of the state government, then that particular agency is authorized to lend money. So that's why you should see the authorization given by either the district collector or the state government under the Local Money Lending Act, or that of the RBI, which is giving authorizations and licenses to various banks and NBFCs. Then, as my previous speaker, the lady from the RBI told you, you should go through the terms and conditions and the fine print in detail without blindly entering into an agreement or a transaction with the app. Never download any app that asks you to give access to your contacts, files, photos and gallery. Then check if the digital platform is representing any bank or not by browsing the website of the concerned bank. Only if, supposing State Bank of India says this digital platform is engaged by us for marketing online loans, then you can feel that this is an authentic platform and you can start transacting. Never share your KYC and bank account details with unverified apps. The RBI website gives the list of all the NBFCs. That's the website address URL, https://www.rbi.org.in.scripts.bs_nbfclist.aspx. It gives list of all the NBFCs that have been legally authorized to do business of lending and of taking deposits. So therefore, you can also cross-check whether the name of the particular NBFC who is soliciting you in the form of luring you to give loans is listed in the RBI website or not. Lastly, don't fall prey for easy money. You don't get anything free in this world. So you should not fall prey and unnecessarily enter into various legal tangles and harassment from these fraudsters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights on investigation of such offences, and also not only investigating them and regarding the evidence collection and concluding the case and overseeing that the conviction happens in such cases. And I thank you, sirs and ma'am, for covering the whole topic in a wholesome manner. DIG sir has covered the root of the problem, that is the greed, and also made us all aware about the precautions that we should take so that we all will not fall prey to such scams. And next, Shri A.Y.V. Krishna, Joint Director, CBI sir, has made us all the police officers and personnel present here aware about the investigation process and how to trace the accused, and also how to bring him to the justice. And also Srimati Padma Padmanabhan ma'am from RBI has shared her valuable insights and the institutional measures that RBI is taking to prevent such new trend, such exploitation by foreign agencies, and to defend our national security by correcting those institutional loopholes and by being more proactive and reaching out to the citizens. So I request all the citizens to follow these 5 principles. Don't be greedy. There is no free money. Whenever somebody offers you free money or free lunch, please refuse it, and don't be lazy. Be always cautious. Always check the terms and conditions, read the fine print, and doubly check whenever you are getting something. And don't be depressed if you are scammed, if you are duped, and if you have lost money. There have been suicides committed because of they couldn't handle the harassment. Kindly reach out to AP Police, know your rights, know how to share the information. There are several initiatives of AP Police called Spandana, AP Police Seva app. You need not come to the police station. You need not step into the police station. Sitting right from your home, you can lodge the complaint, and we AP Police will take it seriously and bring the culprits to the justice. Sir, now I open the stage to questions. If any of you have any questions, please raise and ask. Mics. Who wants to ask a question? Yeah, please give the mic to the gentleman.
Good afternoon, sir. So my name is Kushwan. Sir, Madam చెప్పారు మనం టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ చదవాలి అని చెప్పేసి. సో ఇప్పుడు ఆల్మోస్ట్ స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్ అనేది ఓన్లీ చదువుకున్న వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే కాదు, ఆల్మోస్ట్ స్ప్రెడ్ అయిపోయింది. ఇప్పుడు ఆధార్ కావాలన్నా, రేషన్ కావాలన్నా కూడా మనకు స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఆ టైంలో టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ అనేది ప్రతి ఒక్కరు చదువుతారా అంటే చదవరు. ఆ కండిషన్ ఒకవేళ వేరే ఫర్ సపోజ్ నేను ఎన్నో యాప్స్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేశాను, అది చదువుతాం అనుకోవడానికి అది నాకు అర్థం కానీ ఒక అడ్వాన్స్డ్ టెర్మినాలజీలో ఉంటుంది. సో మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, యాక్సెప్ట్ ఇచ్చేస్తాం. సో అలా నేను ఒక వెబ్సైట్కి యాక్సెస్ ఇచ్చాను. వాళ్ళు ఏం చేశారంటే నా డేటాని నా పర్మిషన్ లేకుండా, నేను టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయడంతో వాళ్ళు నా డేటాని మొత్తం ఓపెన్ చేసి చూశారు. ఆ విషయం నాకు ఎప్పుడు తెలిసిందంటే క్యాస్పర్స్కి అనే యాంటీవైరస్ నేను ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకున్నప్పుడు వాళ్ళు చూపించారు, ఇలా మీ యాక్సెస్ అనేది వాళ్ళు రిమోట్గా యాక్సెస్ చేస్తున్నారు, మీరు బ్లాక్ చేసుకోండి అని. సో దీనికోసం డిజిటల్ లిటరసీ అనే దాన్ని మనం ఏ విధంగా ఎంకరేజ్ చేయగలుగుతాం? స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్స్ అందరి దగ్గర ఉంది, బట్ విలేజెస్ కానీ ఏజ్ ఓల్డ్ కానీ అన్ఎడ్యుకేటెడ్ వాళ్ళు కూడా ఇది యూజ్ చేసే విధంగా వై కాంట్ వి మేక్ టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ ఇన్ అన్ యాక్సెసిబుల్ వే? ఐ మీన్ మనకు అర్థమయ్యే విధంగా, ఒక లేమెన్, ఒక నార్మల్ పర్సన్ టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ని అర్థమయ్యే విధంగా మనం ఎందుకు ఒక టైప్ ఆఫ్ పాలసీని తీసుకొని రాకూడదు? ఎందుకు టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఒక 50 పేజెస్ 100 పేజెస్ ఉంటాయి. అది కూడా కాకుండా ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఒక యాప్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన వెంటనే యాక్సెస్, ఫర్ సపోజ్ గూగుల్ పే చేయాలి. పే చేయాలన్న వెంటనే మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, వాళ్ళు మనకు తొందర పెడతారు, ఈ ఒక 10 minutes లోపల మీరు పే చేయాలి, లేకపోతే మీకు ఈ ఆఫర్ రాదు, లేకపోతే మీకు ఈ సినిమా టికెట్ రాదని. మనం 10 minutes లో యాప్ మొత్తము టర్మ్స్ అండ్ కండిషన్స్ మొత్తం చదవలేము. సో యాక్సెస్ ఇలా ఇవ్వడం వల్ల ప్రాబ్లం మనం ఫేస్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఈ ప్రాబ్లమ్ని మనం వేరే వాళ్ళు స్పెసిఫై చేస్తే వాళ్ళు ఏం చెప్తున్నారు అంటే, మీరు పర్మిషన్ ఇచ్చారు కదా, మీరు పర్మిషన్ ఇవ్వడం వల్లే కదా ఇది జరుగుతుంది అంటున్నారు. ఇది వన్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్ మ్యామ్. అండ్ ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ ఏమంటే, మ్యామ్ చెప్పారు ఏమై మన డీటెయిల్స్ అనేవి మనం
One small request, thank you so much for your very insightful and detailed question. We are running short of time. You may ask the question, but try to keep it very brief.
Yeah, the question is,
and also at the end, you may address the speaker whom you want to respond on your question.
Yeah, that is the thing. Terms and conditions ni మనం ఎందుకు అర్థమయ్యే విధంగా మనం ఐ మీన్ యాక్సెసిబుల్ వేలో అందరూ చదివే విధంగా దాన్ని క్రియేట్ చేయలేం. ఎందుకు అదొక 100 pages తోనే ఉండాలి, దాన్ని ఎవరు చదవలేరు. అండ్ ఈ మేడం చెప్పారు ఏమి నంబర్స్ అనేవి మనం ఎవరికి ఇవ్వకూడదని. ఇప్పుడు ట్రూ కాలర్ ఒక యాప్ని ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకుంటే ఎంటైర్ మన డీటెయిల్స్ మన పర్మిషన్ లేకుండానే వాళ్ళకి వెళ్తుంది. అండ్ మన నంబర్స్ అనేవి ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఈ-కామర్స్ వెబ్సైట్స్ అన్నింటిలోనూ ఉంటుంది. మన డెలివర్ చేయడానికి ప్రోడక్ట్ వచ్చే టైంలో కూడా మన డెలివరీ బాక్స్ పైన మన నంబర్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో ఎవరు పడితే వాళ్ళకి నంబర్స్ ఉంటుంది. వై వీఆర్ ఎంకరేజింగ్ సచ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని మనం వాళ్ళకి ఎందుకు ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది? అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఏమంటే పర్మిషన్స్ పరంగా చెప్పారు. సో పర్మిషన్స్ని మనం పర్మిషన్స్ మనం కావాలంటేనే ఇవ్వచ్చు, లేకపోతే వద్దు అన్నారు. సో ఇప్పుడు మన ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఒక టాప్ టెలికామ్ యాప్ ఉంది. ఆ యాప్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, నువ్వు కంపల్సరీ కాంటాక్ట్ యాక్సెస్ ఇవ్వండి, కంపల్సరీ నాకు ఆడియో యాక్సెస్ ఇవ్వండి, నీ ఎంటైర్ గ్యాలరీ యాక్సెస్ ఇవ్వండి అంటుంది. అలా ఇస్తేనే యాప్ పనిచేస్తుంది, లేదంటే యాప్ పనిచేయదు. యాప్ పనిచేయకపోతే నాకు కాల్ వెళ్ళదు. సో ఇట్స్ లైక్ అండ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ మార్కెటింగ్. దే ఆర్ మీ టర్మ్స్ ఫాలో అవ్వాలి, లేదంటే మీ యాప్ పనిచేయదు. మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, మనకు ఆ టైంలో కాల్ వెళ్ళాలనేది ముఖ్యం. సో మనం కంపల్సరీ యాక్సెస్ ఇస్తాం. సో ఓకే, ఆ టాప్ టెలికామ్ యాప్ వచ్చి సెక్యూరిటీగా ఉంది, బట్ ఆ యాప్ని ఎవరైనా హైజాక్ చేస్తే మన డేటా మొత్తం కాంప్రమైజ్ అయినట్లే కదా. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏపీ పోలీస్ యాప్లో కూడా ఎంటైర్ పర్మిషన్స్ ఉంది. So
I have a kind request to the audience, please. If you expand the question, it becomes difficult for the speaker to respond.
Yeah, this is the thing.
I think our speakers has got the gist. Let them respond.
Yeah, thank you. ఈ విషయంపై డిజిటల్ లిటరసీ అనేది యాక్చువల్ సార్ చెప్పినట్టు కామన్ సెన్స్ గా ఉండాలని చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి అందరికీ తీసుకెళ్లేదానికి ఏ టైప్ ఆఫ్ పాలసీస్ మనం ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయొచ్చు?
We will come back to you.
Yeah, thank you. And I need Padma ma'am to answer this. Thank you, sir.
Regarding your question, please, you are talking about the terms and conditions, right? Yeah. Already RBI has specified that when the customer is taking a loan, it should be in the vernacular language. You can always ask for it, but we are all running nowadays. We don't have time. So instead we can plan ahead, ask them for the loan document, and then you sign. What is wrong? Please don't be in a hasty thing. Never go for a hasty decision. That gives you a lot. You repay back. A detrimental repayment. It is not a constructive one. And another thing, RBI is doing lot of financial activities, even with collaboration with AP government. There is some financial activities which are being done. So it is going to rural areas, pamphlets are being disbursed, and it is done through some village, every village is being nominated, a head is nominated, and it is being disseminated. So there is no problem, we are doing a job, sir. Thank you for your concern.
Thank you. So
Permissions, ma'am. Permissions one, you did not answer.
What?
Permissions, we are giving permissions for apps.
Permissions is not of RBI, sir.
Sir, not as per RBI, in general.
In general, if you are...
ma'am, if you permit, maybe I'll respond to his query.
Yeah, please. It is not...
Thank you so much, ma'am, for patiently answering such an elaborate question, and thank you, the audience. Rightly, as you mentioned, we need the apps creates illusion so that you tend to offer yourself all the permissions and all the personal data. So that is why the whole session is being conducted, to create awareness and to make everyone a police. You're all police if you behave responsibly. It is not sufficient. The police, entire AP police or entire Indian police will not be sufficient to counter the cybercrime all on their own. Each one of the citizens should behave responsibly and be aware of the legal provisions and be aware of the cyber hygiene. And only when you become responsible, a responsible citizen is much more powerful than an officer, a police officer, because he can prevent the crime before it happens. As the elders say, the prevention is better than cure. And AP police will always be with you to secure you. Even the tagline goes as such, "Me Bhadrata, Ma Badhyata." ఇప్పుడు ఓన్లీ నిజ ప్రపంచంలోనే కాదు, సైబర్ వరల్డ్లో కూడా you can use all our services through AP Police Seva, Spandana portals, and please attend all the awareness and information sessions and also visit all the slots and get aware that only through awareness we can fight these evils together. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, speakers.
Very well answered, sir. Expert speakers for insightfully presiding over this session, and it's time we present gifts and mementos in the honor of our chief guests. So I request our keynote speaker to present the memento and gift to Padma ma'am. Can we have the mementos and the gift, please? Ladies and gentlemen, join your hands to honor our expert speaker, Sri Padma ma'am, who insightfully gave us awareness on the topic online frauds, cyber online. So it was a really interesting topic. Online loan frauds is something that we come across quite usually these days, and it's a great privilege for us all to sit down here and know about these topics in detail. Thank you very much, ma'am. Sunil sir, thank you very much for your time. Also, thank you to our one more expert speaker who joined us virtually. Krishna sir, thank you very much. You were quite insightful. I hope you're hearing this.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are winding up the first half of the session, and it has been incredibly insightful and informative. The second session, we will break now for the lunch, and when we start after the lunch, it's going to be an interesting session because it is about young IPS and DSP officers, about their career perspectives. And post that, we have a quiz session, and those whoever are participating in the quiz, we have surprise goodies, surprise giveaways. People can win pen drives, people can win something else. I'm not supposed to reveal the surprise goodies. So if you want to win over the surprise gifts from us, then wait for the quiz session to start. For now, let's all break for the lunch, and I'll see you all post-lunch by 3 p.m. Thank you very much.
Some of the greater advances in civilization and technology came because we explored. Yes, we could do a lot of good with money we take to establish an all we taking far better way resources on Earth.
Alright, I request all you to gather back after the lunch by 2:30 p.m. because we are starting by sharp 2:30 p.m. It's not 3, that was my bad. So I hope you all finish off lunch and gather back sharp by 2:30 p.m. Thank you.